Good afternoon and welcome to 12 and a half minutes, your weekly hit of hope, information and inspiration brought to you by Elevator, one of Scotland's leading entrepreneurial and business support organisations. My name's Andy Campbell, and each week I have the pleasure of spending 12 and a half minutes in the company of some of the UK's, if not some of the world's, leading entrepreneurs and pioneers. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We're broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube and LinkedIn, and you can like, comment and subscribe. So at Elevator, each year we help thousands of businesses start up and grow their companies. And they all want to know, what is the key to success? What is it that they need to have that will help their business be successful? Is it the idea that the company is developing? Is it the team? Is it perhaps even the funding structure they're putting in? And all these things, yes, of course, they are important. But there is a fantastic TED Talk by a chap called Bill Gross, an entrepreneur in his own right. And he starts to research the subject. What is the key to success? And he carries out huge, extensive research on a number of businesses, including companies like Airbnb and Uber. And what he discovers is the one thing that really makes a difference is timing. Being in the right place at the right time with the right product and the right service, and most of all, having the right capability to be able to spot that and react, adjust your offering and take advantage of that opportunity is what is key. So timing is really important. So my guest today is the Chief Executive Officer of Nova Biotics, a leading Aberdeen company who are developing medical treatments and solutions to infectious diseases. So you can understand why timing is really important to this particular company and to this particular Chief Executive. So I'm delighted to extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Deborah O'Neil.
Hi, Andy.
Good afternoon, Deborah. How are you?
Well, thank you. Well, actually in the office safely for a change. So this is a treat also to be able to talk to you.
Oh, well, fantastic. Thanks so much indeed for spending the time with us this afternoon, Deborah, and from the office, because I understand, particularly at this current time, work has not been stopping for yourself.
Absolutely. Busier than ever. So in a subsector of the life science sector that are kind of at the front line of the research side of COVID, so to speak. So we're busier than ever, but having to work in a very different way. So we've adapted well to what is a new norm now.
Well, again, thank you for the time. And at this moment in the programme, what we usually do is invite our guests to go full screen and tell us all about their background, their journey and what their business does. And probably a couple of minutes and then we'll come back in and we'll have that conversation, Deborah. So over to you.
Great stuff. So I'm Deborah O'Neil. I'm a scientist by training. So I did a degree in biochemistry, then did a PhD in immunology. So effectively studying how the body's immune system functions in health and in disease. Fell in love with that. So that was an area of research I then pursued. I was lucky enough then to do my postdoctoral training around the world in some fantastic places, San Diego, in California initially for a few years, and then came back to Europe, to Belgium. And from there was offered a job at the Rowett Research Institute and actually left Belgium a year earlier than I'd intended to take that post up. That was an academic research post. I'd always had the idea that really now is my company, Nova Biotics, at the back of my mind. But while I was at the Rowett, I had the chance to pursue that a little bit further. And in 2004, actually spun Nova Biotics out as a business, looking at what Nova Biotics does, which is developing new antimicrobial therapies, was clearly going to become very quickly more than just a side project. So it was either do it 100% or not at all for a chance of it to be a success. I'm the first person in the family I've gone to university, down an academic track, but I guess I grew up in a very entrepreneurial environment. My family have always owned their own businesses. So making that step into the commercial sphere was just a small step. It didn't feel like a big leap to me. And in science, you can always go back. There's a very fuzzy line. Good science is good science, whether it's in academic research, whether it's in commercial research. So that was 2004. Novobartics began legally and in the sense that it is now back then. So almost, because that was August 16 years ago. And since then, we've grown the business into a leading biotechnology drug discovery company at the kind of front line of antimicrobials research. So we're developing products for bacterial diseases, developing products for fungal diseases, but some of our products and our technology have clear utility in the respiratory infections associated with COVID. So the reason that we're busier than ever is, as well as developing our other product candidates, this pandemic has meant that we've had the opportunity to accelerate the development of one of our products. So that's what the guys not that far behind me are doing right now.
Fantastic, and it's great to hear that those sort of entrepreneurial roots that you had in your own family life, and how you've been able to put that into place into your own business. But touching just at the last part there, your company is very involved in the fight against COVID. Could you maybe expand on that? What is your company involved in, and what is it currently working on with regards to potential treatments for COVID-19?
Absolutely. So we are developing a treatment, and it's a unique therapy in this space that's really come from our technology that we've already been developing for another chest disease, cystic fibrosis, that also has an infectious root, so to speak. So we already know that this particular technology can address infection, but also inflammation, which we know in a lot of COVID patients is causing the real issue, this kind of hyper-inflammatory response where for some reason the body's immune system overreacts, if you like, to the virus and the complications from the virus. So Nilexa, which is the product that we're developing, tackles all of the microbes involved. It has effects against the virus, effects against the overreactive immune system, but it also protects against secondary bacterial infections that the virus actually leaves you very prone to, and that are the cause of many, many deaths still in this disease. So we have to test it. We have to test it.
Yeah, and clearly you're pioneering in your work. You've been able to reutilize some of the research that you've already done in other conditions, and look to repurpose that within regard to a treatment. But presumably the whole medical sector is responding to COVID right now, and therefore there has to be some degree of collaboration and partnership and information sharing. Could you give me an insight into how the medical sector is responding and working collaboratively together?
Absolutely. So I guess there are three strands to this on the research side. The one that we're involved with, which is trying to develop very quickly therapies and treatments for COVID. You've obviously got a lot of people working on vaccines, which is a different strategy, but as I'll come on to, certainly nothing guaranteed there. So we have to be looking at treatments for this as well. And you've also got people looking at improved and better tests for this. So you've got collaborations across government and industry, between academia and companies, synergies between even big pharma players that we've never seen before. So it has been a call to arms, if you like, and most of the industry, certainly at our end of the spectrum, the very innovative biotech sector has kind of rallied to that. So yes, collaboration in a way that we've never seen before.
Yeah, and you mentioned there in terms of the medical sector, the economics, the economic impact of COVID, the political play that is overall, the societal impacts, and science is having to play and inform decisions that will impact people in terms of their life, the economy, and so on. What is the role of science within that, and how does it feel? Because it's perhaps not always seen as the good news that people want to hear, Deborah.
Exactly. So trying to define a scientist in this pandemic is almost impossible. So you've obviously got the scientists at one end, the epidemiologists, the people modeling this disease, trying to advise governments in an unprecedented situation. The key word for this virus is novel. Doesn't come with a handbook. We've never seen it before. So trying to predict everything, even from social distancing, when do we or don't we start easing lockdown measures. We're going on informed, I don't want to say guesses, but it's not facts. We're learning about this virus as we go. So I think those are the scientists that are probably the most misunderstood in this, and are probably perceived as the bad guys. But we're learning as we go. They're doing as much as we can. And then there are those like us at the front end of this that are developing therapies, developing treatments, and vaccines, and obviously trying to resolve the situation. So a spectrum of different scientists involved. I think the ones trying to advise on what we should be doing at the moment, how we should be trying to mitigate this pandemic through behaviour, through social distancing, etc., really are learning as they go along. And at the other end, we have those of us trying to tackle this through treatments, better testing, through vaccines, who again are trying to go from 0 to 160 in a way that we've never ever had to do before for a completely new infection.
Yeah, and certainly, I mean, in terms of the type of work that Nova Biotics do, you are at the bleeding edge. You are pioneering by default. But as chief exec, always being in a role where you have to be pioneering, how do you function? How do you get the best out of yourself? How do you get the best out of your management team? And how do you get the best out of the range of staff that you've got in these critical roles?
I think innovation is just, as trite as it sounds, it's in our DNA. It's the very fabric of what we do. Innovation in terms of technology, it's what the team are all about. They love doing what they're doing, applying their science to come up with novel solutions, not just to COVID, but to the other diseases that we're working on, but also innovating in the way we do business. So, we're developing drugs at a lot less cost and a lot faster as well. So I think you can be innovative, not just in your technology, but how you actually develop that and eventually bring it to market. So I think it's loving the science and the day-to-day aspect of what we do, but really understanding the bigger picture and working to those goals. And I guess as a team, and that's the kind of scientists here, the board, management, everybody's bought into that and has a very, similar, if not exactly the same vision.
Yeah. So we spoke at the start of the program, Deborah, about timing being so important in the success of any company. And Nova Biotics have been around for a number of years, and you've continued to steadily grow your business. But this is a very different set of circumstances and environment that we find ourselves, that you find yourself in. As we spoke through the week, you said that this is your go for it moment. And whilst there is a need to provide a response to COVID, there is also a great opportunity for you to grow your business. And that's a bit of a dichotomy, because you want to be able to grow a successful company, but obviously you need to tackle something that's really important. So how do you wrestle with that, and how do you make sure that you don't miss your go for it moment?
Exactly. I mean, we absolutely have to act now, and we're not alone. I think as an anti-infectives business, it seems an odd thing to say that a pandemic has created an opportunity and the ability to fast track our technology in a way that we've never been able to do before. So it's that flexibility, being able to adapt, and that's the whole business, the whole team, to this situation, and be able to, move across very quickly and capitalize on this opportunity. And that's meant dealing with funders, the government, shareholders, everybody, to get them on side to make sure that we're moving in the right direction to tackle this, capitalize on the opportunity, while, as you say, not forgetting that this could potentially be a game changer. Nylexa could alter the trajectory of this pandemic, and making sure that we don't miss this opportunity. And that's a commercial thing, it's a scientific thing, and it's also, a moral thing. Knowing what we're sat on, we can't not develop this as quickly as we possibly can as a solution to COVID.
Yeah, and I think everyone would wish you the very best of success in terms of how you grow and scale your company in reaction to ensure that you take advantage of this timing moment. At this part of the programme, as we near the end, we always like to try and ask our guests to look over the horizon. And as we spoke earlier on the week, you used a phrase about the fact that we're at war with the microbes, which sounds like a sci-fi movie yet to be made. But it is a war that we're going to win out against, Deborah, isn't it? Can you give us a future insight into what we as a society can expect in the next 5, 10, 20 years of our existence with microbes? I hope we last longer than 20 years, of course, but what are we likely to see in the short to near term, Deborah?
Yeah, don't worry, we're busy. We'll definitely last more than 20 years. I think that this is certainly a battle in a war that's been going on forever and will also continue forever, that we're going to win. It's not the last pandemic we're going to see. I think what it's taught us is the value of infectious disease treatments. Bizarrely, it's been an area that's been undervalued and overlooked because, of course, we all take anti-infective treatments, drugs, vaccines for granted. And I think forever, COVID has changed the game on that. So I think we're certainly going to be better prepared for the next time this happens. And as much as there's no rule book, it's given us at least an outline plan. Certainly more value on infectious disease treatments and the ability, certainly for our sector, but I think as a country, as a planet, the ability to mobilize quickly and do things in the timescales that are required when something like this hits. And back to your point about collaboration, do things in ways that have never been done before because they need to be done quickly.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. And hopefully those lessons learned through this really challenging time are there for the long term, and organisations and countries can work together, the medical sector can work together to ensure that we are as best prepared as we possibly can be for, as you say, there will be something else down the line, but at least next time we'll have taken the lessons learned from COVID and we'll be able to put them to good use. Deborah, we are very sadly out of time. 12.5 minutes are over. All I can do is thank you for your 12.5 minutes today. Thank you for the work that you and your team are doing at Nova Biotics, and we hope to see you soon in the future. But continued good success, Deborah, and thank you once again.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Andy. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Great. Well, that was Dr. Deborah O'Neil giving us an insight into the fantastic work that they're doing at Nova Biotics. I'm sure you all join with Elevator in wishing her and her team the very best of success as they move forward. Next week, it's going to be another tremendous show. We have a world record holder on the show, broadcaster, author and endurance athlete, Mr. Mark Beaumont. So thank you very much indeed for watching this week. Have a great weekend. And in the meantime, do stay safe. Thank you.